Good morning and welcome to LNG Marketplace News Flash. Here is the latest news we have selected for you from all over the media. Over the next few years, Australia, Qatar, and the United States will be competing to supply more LNG to export markets. Let's recap some selected news on these three top LNG producers. For the 12th consecutive year, Qatar was the world's largest producer of LNG, with a market share of approximately 25%. However, early this year, Australia emerged as the leading LNG exporter as Wheatstone and Ichthys LNG projects came online, plus the additional production from Shell's Prelude. Over the next 2 years, and pending approvals on up to 7 LNG projects, Australia could keep challenging the leadership of Qatar. Given its proximity to Asian markets and the trade war between the US and China, Australian odds of successful final investment decision have improved. Nevertheless, Australia shall stay ahead of Qatar only until 2024, as Qatar has ambitious plans to increase LNG production by 40%. This we read on LNG World Shipping and Finance Yahoo. The US also continues to solidify its role as a major player on the global LNG arena. The higher the volumes from the United States, the better for the shipping demand, given longer distances traveled by US cargoes versus those of Australia and Qatar. As considerable proportion of the U.S. exports go to the buyers in Asia, requiring a very long-haul voyage, U.S. exports brought forth 38% more shipping demand since 2016. This is stated by FreightWaves.com. Another piece of news about Qatar. Qatar Gas has completed the largest multi-port LNG cargo delivery ever. Q-Max, the vessel which has cargo carrying capacity of 2 full conventional LNG carriers, has safely discharged LNG at 2 terminals in Spain. Just a reminder, the established practice in the LNG industry is to deliver a single cargo of LNG to a single location. Multi-port delivery is more common in small-scale LNG sector. This info we have found on LNG World News. And now let's move on to some other global headlines. Cameron LNG has sent out its first commissioning cargo to NYK's Marvel Crane tanker. Commissioning cargo is any liquefied natural gas that is made during the startup process of the export facility and that is used to stabilize production and test the performance of equipment. Commissioning cargoes are sold on the global spot market. However, once the startup process of Cameron LNG is completed, the production from the facility will be mostly dedicated towards long-term contracts. This we find on My San Antonio portal. BP and ExxonMobil, the companies that withdrew from the Alaska LNG in 2016, now will jointly contribute $20 million to the proposed project. Alaska LNG, to be built, still needs customers and other sources of financing, especially since a potential investment and LNG sales deals with 3 Chinese companies and is on the back burner amid the current US-China trade battle. One of the initial co-founders of the project, ConocoPhillips, is not part of the current effort. All this we read on S&P Global Platts. Bulgaria has agreed to buy U.S. natural gas for the first time. Kalmar Netherlands, Dutch registered trader, will deliver 2 cargoes to LNG to the Greek Revithousa import terminal. The first LNG shipment is from Cheniere and the second one from the U.S. unit of British Petroleum. Sofia at present buys almost all of its gas from Russia, and it pledged to diversify after a 2009 dispute with Moscow disrupted winter supplies. More details can be found on News Yahoo. Saipem, the Italian energy service company, has won the biggest contract in its history and is awarded a $6 billion deal to construct a major LNG project in Mozambique. The contract is for Anadarko, sold to Total after Occidental's acquisition, and will be led by Saipem together with US-based McDermott International and Japan's Chiyoda Corporation. This we found on Financial Times. And now some news on LNG trade opportunities. According to Hellenic Shipping News, Pakistan LNG is seeking to buy 240 LNG cargoes for delivery over a 10-year period that would be 2 cargoes a month on the delivery ex-ship-based DES at Port Qasim in Karachi. The company does not state when the delivery period starts, but offers are due by 18th of July 2019. Last but not least, the Asian LNG low spot prices remain steady and attracted some demand from India post-monsoon. India's H Energy is seeking 19 LNG cargoes for delivery over September this year to December 2021, while SR Group is looking to buy 6 cargoes from September to January 2020. China's Unipec may be seeking cargoes through private negotiations, but it is not yet confirmed. Japan, as it experiences warmer than usual temperatures this summer, may seek cargoes as well, but at the moment, domestic inventory remains quite high. We read all this on Hellenic Shipping News. That's it for this week. Tune in next week for more news, and until then, thanks for tuning in. There is still some LNG conferences going on in June before the summer holiday season takes over. Check for ongoing events in the calendar on our website, www.marketplace.com.